So you had your transplant how many days ago?
So 11 days now.
Okay.
Yeah, today's Wednesday. So yeah, 11 days.
Great.
I think is
11 days.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
Completely fine. I mean, I always pretty much felt fine. The only thing that I considered downtime, which I didn't know what to expect, so I took some days off just to be extra cautious.
Yeah.
But the only like downtime really was kind of like looking crazy and not really wanting to leave the house for a few days.
Right.
Mainly from the swelling and from the first few days of not being able to wear a hat yet, and it was still red and all that.
Yeah.
But aside from that, I mean, I felt fine even like leaving the first day, honestly.
Yeah, when you came in the next morning, I was like, did she even have a transplant?
Like, it looks like I did, but yeah.
Funny. Well, it even right now looks so good. I
know,
I mean,
like,
only been 11
I don't know if they'll shed, but there's like little hairs like already coming in.
Yeah.
I'm like, please, just trying to baby them. Don't leave me.
It's so funny. Well, the laser will help with that a lot, so that's
good.
really
Okay,
good.
I was trying to look it up while I was under there.
Yeah, so it's going to increase the blood supply quite a bit, and so what it's going to do is going to help with the healing. It'll help with your new hairs that'll grow in. It'll help them grow in a little faster. So
I love that.
Yeah, so it'll be really great. And it's good for the healing. So I'm excited. What made you decide to have a hair transplant?
So it was kind of like, it was almost on a whim, but I was trying to think back to it. So I was like, where did I get the idea to even look it up? And then I remembered like actually leaving where I got the idea after we'd already booked it. So like y'all have the billboard signs, you know, on the side of the interstate. And I was just like driving home from something one day, probably work, and saw that, and I was like, ugh, because I've always just wished that my hairline was fuller. And like, I think it probably has thinned over time, but for me, like, especially in these corners, it's always been thin. I've just gotten used to styling it, like, you know, making a swoop, like styling it accordingly to those thin sections of the hair. And I've never worn like a ponytail like this before, you know, and I kind of just got used to that because it was always that way. And I was like, oh man, I was like, I wonder if they do women's. I need to look that up when I get home. So I looked it up briefly. Couldn't find a lot of information. Something made me think back on it a couple of months ago, and I was like, well, why don't I just call and talk to somebody and even see if they do women's, see, because there were 2 places in Nashville that I sent, I think, like a email inquiry or something to, and one of them were like, unfortunately at this time we don't do transplants on women. And then I heard back from you guys, and you said that you did. So came in, met with Hannah, we talked about, you know, what I was looking for, met with the surgeon, and then he said that I was a candidate. So I was like, let me just do it, because it's something that like I've gotten so used to that, like, you know, I could keep pushing it back, you know. So I was like, let's just go ahead and do it so I can go ahead and get the healing over with and just move forward with it. So
that's so fun. And you had never really seen or known of anyone have a transplant before?
No, I don't think so. Like, I've heard actually on like some comedy podcasts and stuff, they were just talking about like, oh yeah, I got a transplant, and like talking about it a little bit, but they were men, and like not anybody that I could ask questions. But but yeah, I don't think I know anybody personally. I was kind of asking around. My salon is in the Sola Studios in Green Hills. I was asking around some of the people that own salons. I was like, look what I did. Have you heard anybody that's done this before? And they said yes. And a couple of the men that own salons in the building have done like PRP and maybe laser and just some other stuff, but not actually the transplant. So
you're like the guinea pig.
I'm the guinea pig. I've had tons of people to just, you know, send picture updates, and then
it looks
they're all
so
interested
good.
now.
It looks so clean. Like, you definitely kept it very, very clean, and so I'm really excited.
I will say that was annoying to like have to wash it twice a day for a while, but I was like, I'm just gonna do it, because like, you know, if you're a man and you have hair that's this long, that's one thing, but like having wet hair, but I just blow dried it halfway on cool and got through it.
There you go. There you go.
That's so funny. What do you think was the easiest and then like the hardest part of the recovery process? Because I know for a lot of women, you know, recovering from a hair transplant can be intimidating or scary because they have, you know, places they need to go and things they need to do, and you can't always wear a hat. So but you obviously, number one, style it really well. You took very good care of it. So talk to me kind of best and worst on that recovery, and how long was it until you felt comfortable going out in public and that kind of thing?
The next day. I will say, correction. So the next day, like, I went out, not really in public. I went to like my parents' house, and you know, when I left here, went to my parents' house after my wash, and I was like, look at this, showed my like family. But I didn't like go out and like, I wouldn't go out to a store really until I could wear a hat the 3 days. And then I did, but that was really, it was the swelling for like the 2 days, and I expected it, so it was, and I knew what it was, and honestly, as soon as I quit being lazy and started icing it, it went down like really quick, and then I could kind of like massage it down. But the swelling, but really it was just kind of funny because I was like sending pictures to my mom, and I was like, how do I look? She was like, you better hope it doesn't stick like that. But, yeah, that was really it. I will say like, because that part I was expecting, it wasn't abnormal, so that was fine. The sleeping at an elevation, I will say, probably actually was the most uncomfortable part. And I was able to, I got a wedge pillow for like $30 on Amazon, and I made it happen. But I'm used to sleeping just like a certain way and on my side, and I didn't want to like sleep on the graft. So
it's tough,
having to do that for however many nights it said, was really the only thing. But I was surprised because I really never felt any actual pain or like mild discomfort was really it, because it was numb. You know, it's not like the numbing just wore off that night. Like I didn't even need my medicine. Like it was not
that's great.
Like,
It's pretty easy.
didn't hurt.
I love it.
I'm very glad that was the case. But sleeping seems to be the most common. I mean, it's just a thread from every patient. It's like, you know, I wasn't in pain for the most part, but it was just the sleeping is
uncomfortable.
You know, but it's 3 days.
Because we all like have our particulars with how we sleep. So, but we make do.
I love it.
So it was fine.
When you came to visit with Hannah for the first time, what was your like biggest curiosity? Because I know you didn't see a lot of women online, because it's you know, there's not as many out there, not as many willing to share their story, so it's challenging. So what, like, you know, curiosities or main questions do you have for Hannah going into it?
Basically, my biggest concern, which rightfully so, was for how long am I gonna look crazy? That was my number one question, because like on YouTube and stuff, there's men more so than women. I don't think I saw any women that actually like documented their whole, you know, experience and journey. Where there was some men, and that was more helpful than not having anything, but like kind of seeing like, okay, this is week 1, you know, this is day whatever, got my stitches out. You know, like I was hoping to like see somebody's progress play out. And there weren't any women that I saw that did that. And so, yeah, basically just, like, I wish that I knew more what to expect. Like, what does it look like at day so-and-so? Typically. And I know it can be different for everybody. But just as, like, just a ballpark. That was the one thing that, that I was most trying to figure out. And then, of course, like, results. Like, what do results typically look like? Do you guys typically do, you know, some like mine? Because for mine, you know, we're putting grafts down here where there wasn't, like, a hair follicle. So, like, you know, it's one thing if you have some thin hair to kind of cover it, but it's another thing to, like, wait till it grows out from the root. Basically. So, yeah, I guess that would have been the most helpful, is like seeing somebody's progress.
Definitely. I think for women, styling it is like one of the biggest things, especially because it's harder, because I mean with men it's a little bit easier, you can kind of all cut it the same length or things like that, but you've been wearing like really cute headbands and stuff. So
yeah,
from here on out, talk to me about how you're planning on styling it, kind of stuff like that.
Well, I've got a bunch of headbands, so I'm still actually trying to figure out exactly the best way to wear like one that covers this, because typically where I would wear them, you know, I wear a headscarf, but back here where there's some bangs. Honestly though, like for me personally, if I'm going out to like basically be around a bunch of strangers that might be like, well, what's going on here? I probably just throw on a hat or like a headband, or like I think it's cute when it's done right, like the little like 70s silk scarf so you can tie in the back. That can be cute. So mostly that. If I'm going somewhere like to a nice dinner and I don't want to wear like a ball cap or something like that, then I'll go for a headband. But mostly like that. And then sometimes I might, if I'm going places today, you know, whether it be work here, you know, with my family, I'll just rock it normal, because like everybody knows I did it, so
it's really not even like super noticeable. Like I don't think, oh my gosh, she had something done. Like it's not.
I was experimenting the other day and put like a little bit, like move the foundation up there, and it just got rid of the redness and kind of like concealed it more.
For sure.
Yeah. It is really cool that the way you're healing is so great. I mean, you followed the instructions beautifully, obviously, which is helpful.
To a T, I'm like.
But it is so helpful because you're at a point now where, I mean, you can hide it, but realistically, you could go to a grocery store and no one would. Nobody's
gonna stare at my forehead that much. It would just be in my head that I'd be like,
right, So I think at this point, at 11 days, it sounds like you would feel comfortable going out without anything if you wanted to in a casual setting. Yeah. It looks great.
Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't really care.
Yeah.
I've rocked it like this to work and around the fam, so.
I love it. Oh my gosh.
Oh, I had a question real quick. When can I color it? Obviously, there's not really anything to color yet, but is there like a rule for having to wait for coloring?
Not really. I mean, if you wait like the healing time, the 2 weeks, you technically could color it. You know, I tell people a month just to be safe and give us some extra time to heal, but after
I know a lot of women would ask that, especially if they have like grays coming in and stuff like that. I would have clients ask that, so.
Yeah, I think, you know, for my blondes, I probably wouldn't put too much bleach on it initially, for sure. But especially like if it's just coloring some gray, people might color, it's not as big of a deal. But yeah, if you can wait a good 2 weeks to 4 weeks and then use as minimal bleach, those kinds of things, you're fine.
Probably keep bleach like off the scalp in highlights would be
absolutely
to be safe.
Cool. I love that. Do you run into a lot of women in your salon that are dealing with thinning?
Oh yeah, tons, and more in the last like year or so than I ever did before. I did before a little bit, so I don't know if it's like maybe the stress of the times, or you know, I know a lot of people are saying like post-COVID that can be a side effect, and of course, like I said, could be mixed with stress, but I've seen it a lot more lately. Like I would say at least like 30% of the clients I see, and I see pretty much exclusively long hair, so like mostly women, and so it's become like really, really common, and like a lot of people, I've kind of let some friends know, like a girlfriend that I was good friends with in high school, we put extensions in her the other day. She's been dealing with thinning, and like her hair used to be really thick back in high school. And I was telling her, you know, she should reach out and see about maybe something like to start with, maybe PRP. I've heard people have good results with that. If it's, you know, they used to have thick hair and then it's thin. Mine was always thin, but yeah, there's a lot of people that have never heard of the things out there that can be helpful. They just, you know, will look up a serum on Amazon maybe and hope that does the trick, and maybe, I don't know, but it's extremely common, especially now.
Crazy. You know, I think even just prior to being in this industry, I didn't realize how common it was. But, you know, for those people that look at hair all day, it's just such a common thing. And I think a lot of times people come in and they're embarrassed or nervous because they feel like they're the only one, especially women, because you just don't want to talk about it, and you see less of it online, and so it's like, is this normal? But it's so normal.
It is, so it's extremely common. Because like even a lot of times, this is what I've realized is like, you might see a woman's hair and like she has hair, it's not like, you know, like men, it's more obvious because it's in that pattern. Like her hair might have used to be three times thicker than that a few years ago. And so they don't realize as much that other women are dealing with that, but it's extremely common. And like, you know, women are extremely stressed out about that. They're like, it's shedding more than usual. Even if somebody else doesn't notice it on them, they'll notice it on themselves.
I think it's important, and I'm excited for you to share your story just because, you know, it's something that people aren't always willing to share because they are embarrassed or nervous about sharing, you know, that it's happened to them or whatever. But it's really exciting because, you know, we're going to get to watch the whole journey of not only the transplant, but also the laser for you, which is so exciting. So
I wonder if it'll be hard to tell what's what if the laser's like bringing in new hair, or like we can't like isolate the variables. But
it is hard. The good thing is that, you know, we did do a concentrated area for the transplant, so I'm very excited to see obviously that, but also like what is laser going to do for the rest of your hair, like your native hair, because, you know, it makes a really big difference. And even if that obviously isn't your primary concern, because the hair isn't damaged or thinning, it still makes such a difference with the health and the overall look of it. So I am pumped.
I'm so excited. I think it's something that women, like you said, don't really talk about a lot. And I had honestly no idea how common it was until I started working here and started seeing it every day. So I'm so excited that you're gonna walk through the process. We're gonna get to kind of watch everything unfold. It's gonna be so good. I'm excited.
I know. I have clients waiting to see how it does. So.
I love it. Well, we will keep everybody updated, and we'll continue to do some of these videos so that way we can just track the progress and share your story. And I'm really excited. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Love it.